Again a little bit fast, because you know the idea of what is a loop from Python. So we will see basically focus on what are the differences in Java. And well, there are some differences, like do while loop and the way the for loop works, and the syntax might be different. So we will focus also on that. If time allows, at the end we will also have again an in class activity. Okay. So what is a loop? Well, before going that, I would like to first to show this operator, plus plus or minus minus operator. What is this? Well, again, as software developers, we are lazy in typing. We want to make things simple as much as possible. I could increment a value like a is equal to a plus 1. I could do that. But in addition, in order also, I can say, if I say a plus plus, it means that increment a by 1. Or if I say b minus minus, then it means that decrease b by 1. So this is just an easier writing way for that. So for this code, for instance, if I say a is 10, b is 5, c is 6, then what will I print is basically a is incremented by 1, so a is 11. B will be not 5, 4, we decrease it, and C will be incremented, so it will be 7. So this plus plus and minus minus sign, we will use them especially in for loops a lot. So it is good to know what it means. And there's one detail that you also have to be aware of it. If I write a plus plus or plus plus a, it has different meanings. What it means is, when I say a plus plus, it will do first, the value will be first the original value of that variable is first returned and then incremented. What does it mean? But if I'll explain later. If I say plus plus a, then it means that the value is first incremented and then returned. So what does it mean? I think it will be much easier with an example. If we have this code again, a is 10, b is 5, c is 6, and we have d and e. If we say d is equal to a plus plus, it means that the value of d will be a first, and then the value of a will be incremented by 1. So which means that d will be 10, and then a will be incremented by 1, so that it will be 11. Okay? By this line, d becomes 10, a becomes 11. All right? But if I say this, c is equal to minus minus b, it means that I will first do this decrease operation. So b will be 4, and then c will be also 4. So I first did this operation and then return the value. Similarly, if I say b is equal to plus plus a, so I will first increase a by 1. So it was 11, so it will be 12. Then b will be also assigned to 12. And again now, what will be this? We first do this decrement b by 1. So it was 12, so it will be 11. And then we do this summation operation to 11 and 12, so it will be 23. So e will be 23. Once all of them is finished, then we will decrease a by 1, so it will be 11. So this is the main difference. If I put it as a prefix or a suffix, the order of the operation changes. Is that clear for everyone?
Show example. Can you show examples?
Should I go again with the example?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I said that a is 10, okay? If I say d is equal to a plus plus, what will happen is that I will first do the assignment. So d will be 10, and then I will do the incrementation. So a will be 11. If the code was different. Let's say that the code is, let me actually open it through the Eclipse. That would be better. Okay, let's launch it. Did I hit it? Okay. All right, so this is our Eclipse code, and I'll just now delete this first. I will zoom in. So here's the thing. If I say int a is equal to 10, okay, then if I say d is equal to a plus plus, okay, and this is a valid statement. What it happens is that, let's also print this a and d. It will basically print 10 and then 11. So let's just run it. So it is a is 11 because we increment after statement, but d will be 10. If I had done the opposite, which means if I do this, what will be the result?
Both of them 11.
Both of them 11. Both of them 11. Because what is happening is, when I do this, I first do this incrementing part and then returning the value to the d. Okay? Is that understood? Shall I proceed with the? All right. Now let me continue with. Yeah. All right. So we can use it for plus sign or for addition or the negation. Basically, same idea. Now, the while loops. So the while loop has the same idea with the Python, but the syntax is different. So I want you to focus on that. But the syntax is basically, the difference is like how it was different in if statements. So in a while loop, we write the condition again between parentheses. And then for the while code block, we open the curly brackets and all write our code for that and then close it. So in Python, indentation is important to define the code block, but here it's not important. But we always define it with the curly brackets. Again, in Python, you don't use these parentheses to define the condition, but here it is a must that you have to write the condition between parentheses, okay? And what it means is, well, let's look at this code. So we are setting that, okay, I is 1. Then we are checking, okay, while I is less than or equal to 5, do these statements. What is that? It will print I, and then it will increment I by 1. Then it will check again. If it is true, it will redo that again. Until it is not true, we will keep doing this part so that basically this code will print 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Shall I proceed? I'm going a little bit fast because you know the main idea of loops from the Python. I'm just focusing on the difference. Now, of course, infinite loops might be a little bit problematic. So when we are creating a loop, we should always be sure that, okay, at some point it exists from the loop. Otherwise, it will be an infinite loop. Like, as in this example, if I say int I is equal to 1, then I'm saying while I is less than or equal to 5, we will do the printing part. Now, what is happening here is that since I'm not updating the I value, so I will keep being less than 5, so that we will keep printing 1 all the time. So, and sometimes, so here we printed unlimited times. And also, when we have a while loop, we don't need to, we might not even run any code at all, maybe because we check the condition. If it is true, we will run it. Like if I say I is 10, then we go to this while loop and then say, okay, is I less than or equal to 5, do this. But it is not, so which means that we will just skip it and this code will not be executed at all. Again, the same idea that you have, you learned from the Python course. Now, why we use these loops, also we can use it for input validation. Why is that? Let's say you have an application, you are asking user to provide valid data, but they might enter a wrong data. Then what will you do? Well, you can exit from the application, but of course we don't want it. Then we have to warn the user, okay, this is invalid, and then keep asking it again. Can you enter it again? Then they might still input some wrong data, so we need to keep asking until they provide the valid data. So this example also provides this. Like we would like to enter the users to their GPA, so we keep the GPA as a double value. Then we define a scanner, and then we take it from the keyboard, the import. And then we say, okay, enter GPA from 0 to 4, and then we read it. For the GPA, input that next double, so we read the input from the user and keep it as a double. And then we check, while GPA is greater than 4, so if it is greater than 4, or if it is less than 0, it means that the user didn't provide a valid GPA for us. Then we are checking it. If it is the case, we provide that warning message, invalid GPA and so, and then we read it again. We try to read it again. So we will read it again and we will recheck it. So until the GPA is a valid value, we will keep asking, okay, enter it again. Once it is, which means that this will be false, so we will exit from the while loop and then we will do whatever we need. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. And the do while loop. So I think this doesn't exist in Python. What is this? Well, in a while loop, as I said, you might, at some points, we might not even run it even once. Like we check it is 10, it's not less than 5, we don't run the while loop at all. So in a do while loop, what happens is that it guarantees the code in the while loop runs at least once. So what is happening is that it has this kind of a notation, do as a keyword. Then we open the curly brackets, and between these curly brackets we put all the statements that we want to run in that loop. And then we put the while condition at the end, right after the curly bracket. And then between parentheses again we write our condition, and then we put the semicolon. What it means is, well, run the code first once, then later on check the condition. If it is true, run it again. If it is true, run it again until it is false. So what is happening is that in the very first iteration, it's not checking the condition at all. This means that the code block will run at least once. Then maybe if it is true, it can continue. It can run it twice, but it's not guaranteed. So let's check this code. What is happening is we first say I is equal to 1. Okay. Then we enter this do while loop, and then we print it. And then we increment it, so it becomes 2, and then we check, is it less than 3? Yes, so we go again, and then we print again, we print 2, we increment it to 3, and then we check again, is that true? Yes, so we go again, we print 3, increment it to 4, and then we check, okay, it's not anymore greater than or equal to 3, less than or equal to 3, so we exit, and then we continue the execution. So this guarantees that it at least runs at least once. Like let's say that our I value is, in the beginning it is 99. So what happens is that we set it to 99, then we print it. We print 99, then we increase it to 100, and then we check, is it less than or equal to 3? No, then we exit. So what happened is that at least we printed 99 once. So the code block has been run at least once. So this is why we use do while loop. Well, can you implement the same thing, the same methodology? Like it will be always guaranteed that it will run with only a while loop? What do you say? Like, can you implement it in Python, this kind of a structure, which guarantees that the execution will be executed at least once?
No. I could do system of print first or print, just print, and then start the loop. But inside the loop, no.
Well, actually it is, yeah. So what I can do is, int I is equal to 99, and this was this do while loop part. So println I, and then we were incrementing it by 1, and then we were saying, okay, in this while loop, if I is less than, let's say 4, so it will run in this way, okay? So it will run at least once. I can also do the same thing by maybe this, while true, okay, smart println I, if I is less than 4, break. So I think I did the same thing. We can run it, so we need to get 2 99s. Oh, we made a mistake, sorry. Yeah, this part should be this way. Yeah, 1 is coming from here, so I can say maybe first loop, and this is the second loop. So I need to get 199 first loop, 9 second loop. So they're exactly the same thing. So which means that, like, I mean, you can also use on the while loop to do do while, but do while again just increases the readability. Like, because here I'm saying, okay, while true, then there's an if statement. It just increases the complexity of the code. So do while makes it just more readable. Shall I proceed? And then the for loop, which is in Python also for loop exists, but the way for loop in Python is different than how it works in Java. So in Java we have also a for each loop, which means it is used to iterate over items in a list, in an array. The Python also does that. Like in a for loop in Python, you use it basically to iterate over items. You have a list, and then you use this for loop to iterate over the items. But in Java, this for loop does not work in that way. It doesn't need any list to iterate over that. So, and it has a very specific actually syntax. What is that? So we use this for, and then between the parentheses, we need to fill 3 parts: initialization, test, and update. And then I will come talk about what it means, and then we write our statements. What does this mean? Well, in the first part, this part is run only once in the first iteration. So I first say that, okay, I should be 1. Then the middle part is my condition. So I will keep running this if this is true. So I is less than or equal to 5. And at the end of every iteration, I will do this, I plus 1. So this code will run is basically, I will start from I will start from 1, and I will keep running this until I becomes greater than 5, and at each iteration I will increment it by 1. So basically, if I'm printing this, I will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in particular, in Java, the for loop is actually just another way of writing a while loop. just the syntax is different. Let's do one more example, then I will compare it with the while loop, okay? So again, let's say that we want to print the values, their square versions, okay? So I want to write it from 1 to 5. So I start from 1, I go up to 5, and then at each iteration I increment it by 1, and at each iteration I will print this number, and then its square value. So I start from 1, and then its square is 1. Then it is incremented by 2, by 1, so it becomes 2, and then I print 4. I increment again it by 1, so it becomes 3, its square is 9, and so on. So this is the for loop. It is not used to iterate over and list, but it is used to just do the iteration. Now, I'll show the difference between while loop and the for loop. So what we have is, in a while loop, what we do, let's say that I want to count from 0 to 100. How I do it is, I need to first define my variable. And then, in a while loop, I need to say, okay, this needs to go from 100. And then within the curly brackets, let's say I will just print it. And then I need to update the value, otherwise it will be an infinite value. So I need to say it should be incremented by 1 and so. Now, for this statement, I can also write it with a for loop. How I will do it? Well, it will be basically, in a for loop, I need to define this I value. This can be, I'll just put this j here, okay? J, a different one. Then this j should be less than 100. And then at each iteration, it should be incremented by 1. And I will write, I will just print it here. So I can either put a curly bracket to make it, to define a code block, but since it is only a one line, again like the if statements, if it is only one line, you don't need the curly brackets. So now, when we compare these two codes, actually from a functional perspective, they are exactly the same. So when I wrote this, what is happening is also this. It first defines a variable with an initial value, like here. So when I say so I define I to 0 here, I define j to 0 here. I put my condition here, I put my condition here. I put how the data will be updated at the end of the iteration. I also put it here, and then then this is the code block actually that I want to do. These are exactly the same code blocks. This is just a different way of writing for loops, writing loops. And you can also say, like, based on your needs, maybe you want to say, okay, I don't want to increment it by 1, I want to increment it by 2. Then you can just say this. Okay, then it will be incremented by 2. So this is how, or you might say, okay, it should start from 1, and I need some other variable just to initialize, okay? Then I can put them also with a comma, like as the beginning one, I need these two variables, j and k. And, well, you might even say, okay, j should be less than this, and k should be, I'm just now making up the numbers, this. So I need multiple conditions. But that is fine, because I can, again, easily convert it to a while loop. Like, what will I do is, I will just, this is my condition, and then this is my update version, and also I need this j and k to be 1 and again 1. Since I defined these ints here, that's why I'm getting a message error here. I don't need to redefine it. This is the reason. And yeah, let's make it all same. These are exactly the same codes, okay? Just a different syntax. Do you have any question? It's really up to you which one you can use any of them. They are exactly the same codes that we have. So let's see one more example. Let's say we want to calculate the totals, find the total sales. So we define our variables. Let me use my laser pointer for that. And we define the days, and then the double day sale and the total sale. So and then we ask user how many days you worked. Okay, so we define a keyboard variable, a scanner variable to get the data from the user, and then by the next int, we get that, okay, how many days you worked, we keep it in the days, it's an integer. Then I'm using this variable to count the days. Starting from 1, I will go up to the number of days I worked, and at each iteration I will increment it by 1. Then I'm just printing, okay, enter sales for day, in the first iteration it will be 1, and then I will read it from the user, and then I will add the value that I read to my total sales. And then once I am done, I will print, and then I will close my scanner. So this is like one of the ways it might work. How many days you worked? We entered 4. And then we ask it 4 times the sales for day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. And then we say, okay, you've worked 4 days, and this is the total sales. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, let's give 1 minute break for attendance. Then we will continue with the following slides.